Good evening, folks. Now, like I said earlier, this is discussion for you. We're discussing how how to cope when somebody passes. Okay, so here we go. Solid and comforting advice for the art of dying well. Main points. Historical framework. Ars Moriendi, the 15th century guide. Ars Moriendi, The Art of Dying, offered spiritual and practical advice for dying well. It included eloquent reflection, prompts, and support for both the dying and their loved ones, especially relevant during plague times. Modern reflections on mortality. Public figures like Chris Hoy and Deborah James have shared their terminal diagnosis, helping normalize conversations around death. Their openness is seen as a brave and instructive, offering society a chance to learn from those facing death. Dennis Potter's poetic farewell. The writer Dennis Potter, dying of pancreatic cancer, gave a memorable interview in 1994 where he described the heightened beauty of life in his final days. His phase, the blossomist blossom captured the intense appreciation for the present moment, what he called the nowest of everything. Cultural impact of final words. The BBC archive on 4 famous last words explored how public figures like Potter Clive James and Deborah James used their final days to reflect, inspire, and educate. These narratives challenge societal discomfort with death and offer a model for dying with grace, clarity, and emotional resilience. It's a powerful meditation on how death, when faced openly, can illuminate life. If you're thinking about how this intersects with culturally responsive and end of life care or myth busting around death narratives, I'd love to explore that with you. Drawing from the arts Morandi tradition and complementary. Give me 1 second, guys. I have to change paper. Reflections on dying. Well, here are some practical, culturally adaptable ways to apply these insights, especially in your work around aging, cognitive health, and community engagement. Practical applications of dying well insights. Create life review toolkits. Develop modular prompts inspired by Dennis Potter's Nowist to help elders reflect on beauty, regrets, and legacy. Include culturally resonant metaphors, e.g., blossomist, blossom to invoke emotional depth and spiritual presence. Normalize depth conversations. Host community dialogues or digital forums where people share stories of terminal diagnosis and end of life reflections. Use public figures narratives, e.g., Deborah James, Chris Hoy, as myth busting entry points to reduce stigma. Design participatory rituals to co-create rituals with elders and caregivers to honor traditions like memory walls, storytelling, circles, or symbolic acts of closure. Adapt Arts Moriarty's 5 temptations and antidotes into reflective exercises for spiritual and emotional preparation. Integrate end of life literacy into caregiving training. include modules on emotional, spiritual, and cultural dimensions of dying well. Use historical frameworks like Arts Moriarty's to teach compassionate presence and ethical decision making. Build culturally responsive legacy projects. Invite elders to co-design digital or physical artifacts, e.g. audio diaries, memory quilts, community murals. Ensure these projects reflect across cultural views on death, autonomy, and intergenerational wisdom. Develop evaluation matrix. Measure impact of death literacy interventions or caregiver stress, elder well-being, and community engagement. Include quantitative feedback loops to capture emotional resilience and cultural fit. If you're interested, I can help sketch out a participatory workshop model or a myth busting resource that blends these insights with your existing toolkits. Want to co-create something that's such a vital and often avoided question. Facilitating conversations about death, especially in culturally diverse or caregiving contexts, requires emotional intelligence, structure, and deep respect, drawing from hospice experts, end of life guides, and culturally responsive frameworks. Here are some practical adaptable tips. Tips for facilitating death conversations. Set the stage intentionally. Choose a quiet, emotionally safe space. Avoid springing the topic unexpectedly. Frame it gently. Can we talk about something important to me? Or I'd love your help thinking through this. Use reflective prompts. Invite storytelling. What do you want people to remember most about you? Try sentence starters. if I never could, if I ever couldn't speak for myself, I'd want, or one thing I've always wondered about death is, okay, guys, then what you do is fill in the blanks. When you have that kind of thing, you fill in the blanks. Okay, next page. Be right with you. Normalize the topic. A reference, public figures, or cultural traditions that openly discuss death, e.g., Arts Moriarty's, Dennis Potter's, Nowness, share articles or podcasts to ease into the conversation, like Hospice Nurse Julie's 5-step guide. Honor cultural and spiritual beliefs. Ask open-ended questions. What does a good death look like in your culture? Or are there rituals or practices you'd want honored? Avoid assumptions. Invite co-creation of meaning and legacy. Validate emotions without fixing them. Guys, you're there just to support the person, not to try to get them to change the subject or fix the problem they're having. Okay. Next page. Let grief, fear, or discomfort surface naturally. Say it's okay to feel unsure. I'm here to listen. Use silence as a tool. Don't rush to fill emotional pauses. Offer tangible tools. Bring life review prompts, legacy projects ideas, or advanced directive templates. Use visual aids or culturally adapted toolkits to make abstract concepts more concrete. Follow up thoughtfully. Revisit the conversation later. Ask, has anything shifted in how you're thinking about things? Okay, guys, what I mean by that is you have to engage the person that you're helping. You have to let them discuss how they feel, because they're the one going through it. Like I said, you're only there to facilitate that for them. So, be there to support them, not to make decisions for them. Let them make them, because the end of life process is better for the person that is going through it if they have some sense of control. To them, it makes a big deal if you let them have as much control as possible, if that makes sense to anybody. So, with that being said, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.